former head of the high-risk investigations unit at SARS, Mr. Johann van Loggerenberg. Good afternoon to you, and thank you so much for your time. I spoke to various whistleblowers yesterday, Ms. Cynthia Stimple. I also spoke to Athol Williams, talking to them about their reaction to this particular report. I wonder what will be your reaction tonight.
Afternoon, ma'am, and to your viewers. Thank you for the opportunity. Just to correct something, at the time when I managed investigative units at the Revenue Service, the high-risk investigations unit was the smallest of 5 that I oversaw. But I understand that was the one that got the most news coverage.
Yes, definitely.
But it's correct. My reaction is, look, it's a over 1,000 pages long report, so it requires some reading and time to give a meaningful response. But from the content that I have scanned, I welcome it in the first place, and secondly, I do hope that the recommendations are implemented.
And that's going to be the true test of it, to ensure that the recommendations are in fact, implemented, because we've seen various commissions sitting in reports being tabled and also recommendations being made and not being followed through. And of course, the true test now is going to ensure that those recommendations are put into action.
Yes, I think we should not be naive. I think the report is likely to be challenged from different quarters by people who are in their full rights to challenge it for whatever reason. So I think it will still live with us for some years to come and be pressure tested, which is a good thing in a constitutional democracy. I also think we should not take our eye off the fact that, state capture has harmed the state institutions that are expected to implement many of these recommendations. And so it's not as if we're moving off a perfect base. In any event, apartheid and colonialism, didn't end in 1994. We were on a journey that started then for our constitutional democracy. And I think people should just be realistic and have patience. Nothing's going to be perfect, but it's a welcome next step, and I think it's good for our country.
And looking at the report and some parts around SARS, it's very clear that, the report does say that the former SARS Commissioner, Tom Moyane, was set on breaking the institution as soon as he set foot there. It also refers then to the meetings that we heard about in the State Capture Commission of Inquiry between former President Jacob Zuma with some of the Bain executives in Cape Town. And given what we are seeing now, as you say, that it's going to be a journey and it might be challenged, as we heard from a legal analyst here on the show. Do you think that SARS is well on its way as an institution towards recovery?
Oh, no, I think all departments, not just the Revenue Service, will take many years to get back to at least the best level that they were at when state capture happened and caused the destruction that it did. I also think, I understand that the focus is on Mr. Moyane, but I think we should also remind ourselves that he wasn't alone. There are many other people whose names do not necessarily feature in the report, who I believe still have a lot to answer to or for in any event.
And one of the questions I actually posed to Athol Williams yesterday, and as well as Lord Peter Hain, is what the report also talks about, that Bain and Company still hasn't told the full truth. And it's going to be important, when you listen to what Lord Peter Hain said and Athol Williams said, is that it's going to be important that this happens, that the entire truth is uncovered to prevent a similar situation in the future, because the Commission has also recommended that the contracts that this company has with other various government entities be scrutinized.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I should also say it's not just a moral and ethical duty. It's also a legal duty in terms of the Corruption Act in South Africa, that if certain people within BAIN are aware of evidence that may point towards corruption, theft, fraud, and so forth, exceeding a value of 100,000 rand, they are obliged in law to report that to the law enforcement agencies, to the Hawks, in fact, and failing which, it's a criminal offence, which could lead to the jailing of some of the relevant categories of people at BAIN for a period of up to 15 years.
And for you, when you talk about, some of those that you say are still within the institution of SARS and are still, carrying on with some of these unscrupulous acts, if I may put it that way, I wonder, for you, do you think that then those people are still within SARS as we speak? And does it then mean that the chapter of SARS will need to be revisited despite the Nugent Commission looking into it and now the State Capture Commission of Inquiry?
Yes, absolutely. I think, look, many of these people are not unknown. We know who they are, and the evidence exists that implicates them, and I think they need to answer to the evidence. So absolutely, I agree with everything you've said. SARS and all the other institutions, but specifically in my case, the relevant executives at SARS need to look within, and they need to, do what is right. I've put up my hand. In fact, Judge Zondo asked me during my testimony whether I would be prepared to assist the Revenue Service should I receive a call, and I said yes. That was 6 months ago. Still no call. But yes, I agree with you.
Mr. van Loggerenberg, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. That was the former executive at SARS. One of the units that he managed was the High-Risk Investigations Unit at the South African Revenue Service, talking about how this matter of SARS is actually bigger even than what we've seen in the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, saying there's a lot more people that are known and they should also be brought to book. But let's pause.